from Israel in the Galilee on the 29th of July. It's a Monday. It's 9:14 in the morning, and it's hot. And what we looking at? 95 high. Tomorrow 94, Wednesday 94, Thursday 96, then 95, 94. Sunday it goes to the low 90s. I can't wait. I tell you, it's horrible. Okay, thank God for the air conditioning. Oh. All right, so what are we going to cover today? Well, as some of you know, maybe all of you know, Turkey's Erdogan threatened to invade Israel, and we're going to take a deep dive into that and look at that. And we're not going to look too heavily in Turkey's history as much as we're going to look into Bible prophecy. Okay? And if you want the quick answer, I believe he will attack. And we'll develop this in Bible prophecy. Remember, the history of what these nations have done in the past is irrelevant because we're in end times and they're under a delusion. What will Iran do? Okay, then we're going to get into Lebanon, what Israel did in Lebanon last night, and what they're going to yet do. And will it be a ground invasion? Will it be air attacks? What's it going to look like? What's the UK and the US up to? And what's Iran up to? And this type of thing. Okay? And a lot of Bible prophecy about these things to set the truth. Okay? And, all right. So, I'm going to jump into the chat real quick, blink, and then it comes back. I don't know what happens. This new fiber optic stuff, it gets a little confusing sometimes. But I think we're back. Let me check the chat real quick, blink. This stuff, it gets a little confusing sometimes. But I think we're back. Let me check. Yeah, we're back. I don't know what happened. It does this sometimes. I don't know. It's a problem. I don't know the resolution for it. It just is what it is. So we're getting a few people in the chat. It might be because of my title. It's not being shown to many people. I don't know. I really don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. Being a Bible-believing site, I'm going to do some praise, and I use the correct names of God and the Messiah. And I have no control over who joins in or doesn't join in. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. So, let's see what's going on here. Oh, looks like some people are coming in, but there we go. All right. So, last night, Israel struck Lebanon in 12 locations with aircraft. Beirut was saturated with drones, probably from Israel. I don't know. It could be America. I don't know. Probably Israel. What Israel did last night is they're striking Hezbollah facilities. They've hit hundreds of them in the last few months. They're looking for weapons depot, command and control centers, headquarters, things where the administrative staff of Hezbollah works and does the planning and the intelligence gathering and all this. Now, Israel has spoofed the GPS in Israel and in Lebanon. I don't know about Syria. I don't know. And let me explain. So if I get in the car here and I use Waze or Google Earth or something like that, and I try to say, okay, give me a route from here to Jerusalem, it won't work because the Waze or Google Earth or whatever, I don't think it's Google Earth, it's Google Maps, Google Maps, will immediately show my location in Beirut, Lebanon. It's been like this for a long time. So if the terrorists, the Hezbollah in Lebanon, want to send drones or ballistic guided missiles in, they can't use our GPS system, and they can't use the GPS system in Lebanon because that's also spoofed. Now, I have no knowledge if there's a Russian warship off the coast of Lebanon somewhere with its radar providing control for missiles and drones. They did this in Yemen, but I am of the serious opinion that this is not taking place in Lebanon. I don't think Iran would dare try to pull that on us. Of course, we would probably just sink the ship. And we would do it quite quietly, and nobody would know who sank it. It just would get sunk, and there'd be all sorts of suspicions and that kind of thing. Okay? So, I don't think they're doing that. Now, the Hezbollah yesterday, I believe, withdrew much of their resources back up to Beirut. Well, that's because they think we're not going to strike Beirut. They're very wrong. Big mouth, big bad Hezbollah is running away from the border because now they're scared. Okay? So, like I said many times, if they had all these advanced missiles that they say they do, and the power of destruction like they say they do, Israel would have been dealing with Lebanon quite differently than the way we have. Okay? 12 children were killed in that stupid strike they did on a soccer field in a Druze village. They killed Druze, which are loyal citizens to the state of Israel. And they work in the border patrol police, the border police, which is like part of the military kind of, and they go in the military and stuff like that. And they threatened the Houthis to attack them in Israel. I don't think there are very many. I mean, the Hezbollah, there's some in the West Bank. And the Druze don't live in the West Bank. And in Lebanon, they have 250,000 Druze in Lebanon. And also in Syria, where there's about 500,000 Druze, and Hezbollah is in Syria. Now, the Iranian troops in Syria, and I assume the militias that Iran backs, have relocated themselves close to the border in Syria near the Golan Heights. They're moving closer. Iran is threatening to do whatever they're going to do if we invade Lebanon. Okay? See, Iran lost for all practical purposes. It's just good for political maneuvering now. Hamas in Gaza, they're of no threat to Israel at this point. It's just they're only good for political maneuvering. Oh, genocide, humanitarian crisis, and that kind of stuff. If they lose Hezbollah, they're down to the Houthis, which have been severely disabled. You haven't heard of them sinking any ships in days now, have you? So, when Iran loses her proxies, they're a sitting duck for the nations that hate her, which is NATO and a lot of countries, because she can't do retaliations against UAE, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and other things. Okay, and they want to get rid of Iran. All right. UK warships are located off the coast of Israel and Lebanon. Well, they're ships, military vessels. And the alibi story for these vessels being there is to do evacuations. Well, guys, isn't it a little late in the game to do evacuations? People are waiting any minute for Israel to do their big counterstrike. So, yeah, one of the reasons those ships could be there is to conduct investigation. The flights in Lebanon are canceled. There's nothing going out and nothing going in. Now, I think they could travel by bus, maybe ferry boat to other countries like Turkey. This I'm unsure of. But I expect it would be the case. Maybe they have trains as well. Nobody knows exactly what Israel's going to do, and why should Israel tell anybody? Now, Hochstein, special advisor or something to Biden, told the Hezbollah, or told Lebanon, to expect an attack from Israel. People are assuming that Hochstein gave Lebanon the battle plans for Israel, which America probably did give to, which Israel probably did give to America, but I don't think Hochstein did that. It's end times, anything's possible, but I don't think so. Many nations have been screaming for their citizens to get the heck out of Lebanon, pronto, donto. One reason Israel may be holding back a little bit is to let people get out of Lebanon. But there's no flights, so I don't know. Another reason Israel is holding back on the counterstrike is they might be planning on hitting more strategic Hezbollah targets. Hezbollah infrastructure and weapons, and things like that, before the big attack. Another reason is to sweat Hezbollah. In other words, now they're scared, they're worried, they're not sleeping, they're on watch all the time, they're nervous, and they don't know what's going to happen. And that wears them down. So Israel may take a few days like that, or they may just do it. I don't see any signs of a ground invasion in Lebanon. Okay? Now, that is kind of a hard one to call because there's a lot of tanks, mobile artillery, armored personnel carrying soldiers up there already. So maybe they have enough there already, but they're not gearing up. Israel may push through to the Litani River, which is 17 to 18 miles north of the Lebanon border. But I really don't see that. I don't see that. What I see them doing is giving Hezbollah a sign of the might of Israel and getting them to, back off the way they've been going. And also bust them up significantly, so even if they want to proceed with their viciousness, they'll have difficulty strategically or tactically. Pushing them back to the Litani River means an occupying army, and I'm not so sure Israel's in the mood for that right now. I think we're going to see crippling airstrikes like what happened in Yemen. Okay? And it's going to hurt Hezbollah. There may be as many as 75 aircraft used. Probably in groups of 25. Just 25 go, attack targets, come back, rearm, refuel, while another 25, as the first group is coming back, the second group is taking off, and they do the same thing. Then they come back, and then the third group goes, and then the first group goes again, and it goes rotation, and this could go on all day. And give them a very thorough pounding. Will that get them to stop? No. Idiots like Biden and Blinken and Sullivan and Austin think it will, but it won't. It won't. If they stop, they become unemployed. Iran stops paying them. They don't care about Lebanon. Even though it's their home, they don't care. Lebanon's going to bust a gut. Right? What's Israel supposed to do? Just take the attacks because Lebanon is a bunch of idiots in the government that don't do anything about Hezbollah? The Israeli government kind of looks at Lebanon as Hezbollah. And they look at the Lebanese army as that of Hezbollah. So, while the Lebanese army doesn't side with Hezbollah and help them in the attacks, they don't do anything either. So, it's going to be rough. Israel has to pay attention to the potential of Hezbollah launching lots of missiles into Israel as well. The fact that they moved away from the border and went further inland up north from the border is a good thing, because the lion's share of their missiles are very short range, like 10, 12 mile Katyushas, this type of thing. The missile that they hit the soccer field with the other day had a range of 10 miles or 10 kilometers. A very short range missile with a big warhead, over 100 pounds. So their missile launch capability will be diminished down to whatever sophisticated large missiles they have that can traverse a large amount of ground. These missiles don't sit on a little tripod, that weighs 35 or 50 pounds made out of old beer cans or something. These things sit on a sophisticated missile launcher, which can be stationary or on a truck. And when they launch, our jets will be given the GPS of the launch site, and they will be there in probably seconds, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 minutes, and blow the missile launcher up. So it doesn't matter how many missiles you have of this higher level. What matters is the missile launchers. So if you've got 20,000 sophisticated missiles and 100 launchers, it's not the same as having, 5,000 sophisticated missiles with 900 launches, you know? It's a big difference. A lot of these launches are mounted on trucks that are low boy trailer trucks that are the size of a tractor trailer with a low boy, pretty much. And when they launch, then they got to get away. But that takes time. And we'll spot them. And then the planes will give pursuit, get them radar lock, and blow them up wherever they run to. So the idea is to take out their missile launches. Now they have some that they bury in something that looks like a large grave. Maybe 30, 40 feet long, something like that. And it has coverage over it. And they have missile launches in there. And the launchers electrically raise, the launcher has a missile preloaded and they raise it up and then they fire it. Now, with the electric grid out, which Israel's likely going to do, they're going to need generators for each of these missiles, each of these missile launches, and that makes it much harder for them to remain undetected. So Israel's going to be very careful about limiting the launch capability of the Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hezbollah doing a ground incursion, I would say, is off the table. It's a likely possibility. Iran said that they'll get into the fight if we invade Lebanon. So Biden probably told Israel not to invade Lebanon, but I don't think Israel wants to invade Lebanon right like this now. I think they want to use this as an excuse to bomb many Hezbollah sites far or deep into Lebanon away from the Israel border, to weaken them and soften them up for an invasion. I don't think you're going to see an Israel invasion on this at this time. Now comes Turkey. Erdogan, the leader of Turkey, has on several occasions in the last 2 or 3 years talked about raising a 5 million man army from the different Arab states and just wiping Israel out. And that's where his heart is. He talked as if, he basically said if we're going to, invade Lebanon, and he's going to invade Israel. Now, he's a NATO member, but don't let that stop your thinking. Erdogan, Turkey, controls the Bosphorus Straits. This connects the Mediterranean with the Black Sea. Russia is very, very active Navy-wise in the Black Sea, of course, the Ukraine. If a war breaks out between NATO and Russia, the people in NATO think they could persuade Erdogan to shut the Bosphorus Straits, which has a small pincher point, and it could be done even with artillery or immature simple rockets or anything. And this would be difficult for Russia. So if NATO gives Erdogan and Turkey the boot, Turkey would likely go to Russia, being afraid of an attack on Turkey from NATO, and attempt to get good weapons out of Russia. And then Russia could, through Erdogan, control the Bosphorus Straits. How many people in NATO want to see Israel emerge as the head of the nation serving Jehovah? I can tell you how many. 0. Not a single one. So don't think that the fact that Erdogan and Turkey is in NATO would stop him from invading Israel. That's silly thinking. It's people grasping at straws. Now, if Erdogan does do something to Israel and then Israel bombs Turkey, he'll try to activate that NATO creed, all for one and one for all, and turn NATO against Israel, and they may do it. Okay. Turkey has a large navy, I think about 100 warships. Not all are very modern. He has not a great air force, but he has an air force much, much better than what Iran has, you know. Not like what Israel has. He doesn't have stealth jet capability, but he has a lot of planes. Very easy for him to reach Israel with aircraft launched out of Turkey. American NATO has an air base in Incirlik, Turkey, that they use a lot, and they probably wouldn't want to see that get closed. Turkey, as we're talking, has troops in Syria to fight the Kurds. He can easily redeploy them to the Syrian side of the Golan Heights and position himself to harm Israel. I don't know. Now, the American aircraft carrier Theodore Roosevelt is in fact in the Persian Gulf now, with 3 Arleigh Burke class destroyers. Those are their escorts, 3. I thought it would be more. My guess is there's an American submarine lurking under the waters by them to protect them. Now, this has predominantly been put there by reason of the Americans thinking to do takedowns of drones and missiles that Iran might launch at Israel. And it would be somewhat effective. And now, mind you, the UAE, Jordan, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, amongst other unnamed countries, said they would help defend Israel a few days ago. So they will likely knock down drones and missiles too. Going beyond that to defend Israel sounds doubtful to me. So the amount of damage that an Iranian airstrike would do is likely minimal. But if Iran wants to keep pouring missiles on Israel day and night, then Israel will have to attack Iran with stealth jets. The Houthis, I think, don't have a great way to go here. If the fight goes big in Lebanon, they can keep attacking warships and stuff like that. Now, remember, on several occasions, the Houthis have attacked American warships and hit them in the Red Sea, and America's response to the Houthis was minimalistic. Now, the American and UK bombings on Yemen have not been that serious. Israel's was. So it's likely Iran is thinking that they too can attack American warships in the Persian Gulf and not expect much of a reprisal from America or the UK, as evidenced by the Iranian-backed militias attacking American and UK bases in Iraq and Syria repeatedly. So, this is the Biden administration not understanding the Middle East. Showing weakness just encourages more attacks. They don't get that. Iran's not going to do a ground invasion as I see it. If they attack American warships, that could be the trigger for America to bomb Iran. Especially if they hit the ship and kill people. Iran gave the Houthis effective hypersonic guided missiles. So that means Iran has them also, maybe better ones. They will lose face when America blocks their drones and missiles, and it wouldn't be hard for America to just gear up and launch lots of aircraft from the Middle East to start bombing targets in Iran. Russia's not going to do much of anything. Russia condemned the attack that the Hezbollah made on the Druze. Putin may want to find a way to Putin may try to find a way to smuggle weapons into Lebanon. Israel's done a rather effective job of stopping these transport of weapons into Lebanon. But Turkey may open up another corridor. Lebanon has some anti-aircraft missiles now from Iran, but they're not effective enough against our jets. So right now we're waiting and watching as to what's going to happen. Let me look for questions in the chat and see if I can. If you guys mock me, I just block you. That's it. You're not here to learn or help or anything. You're just here to mock me. Ireland, okay. Weekend at Bernie's, no Biden. That's funny. If you know that movie, Weekend at Bernie's, it's funny. Now, there's a lot of talk about the Psalm 83 war, as they call it. Now, let's go to Psalm 83 and analyze what the heck it really is and what it's talking about, okay? Because Turkey is mentioned in Psalm 83. The Hittites is Turkey. The Israelites fought against the Hittites in the old days with Joshua and won. Prophecy tells us that we're going to have the land our fathers had. Well, they had the land of the Hittites, which is Turkey. So, based on this, without getting into Psalm 83, I think it's highly likely Turkey will attack Israel. Will America use military to stop Turkey? Forget about it. No. The guy that is involved with Psalm 83 is a guy named Asaph, which was a prophet. They called him a seer back then because they saw things in the future. Now let me get into some of the language here for a minute. He wrote this to be a song. Psalms are often used as songs, and they're very prophetic. And Asaph may have seen into the future from the Lord, may have been given a prophecy. So let's be careful, though. So it's not exactly a prayer either. Okay. Keep not thou silent, O. I think it says Jehovah. Hold on, let me get my other translation. No, it says Elohim. Keep not thou silent, O Elohim. Hold not thy peace. And that word is not shalom. It's Strong's number 2790, karash. So we're starting to see translation twisting here. Let's read it. Yeah, he's basically saying, don't be silent about this. And be not still. Shek it. That means when the dogs bark, you say shek it. It means shut up, basically. Be not still or maybe quiet. You can, shek it can mean quiet. Oh, Allah. And then he doesn't say Elohim, he says El, which is the name of God, El, Aleph Lamed. Okay, verse 2, Psalm 83:2. For to thine enemies make a tumult. That's really consistent. Let's get to the meaning of this a little deeper, how you put it in English. Oh, it can mean a commotion, a rage. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Now, the ones that hate him are attacking Israel. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. It's like a witchcraft. Crafty is like a witchcraft thing. Let's get into the meaning of that. The craft. Or it could mean cunning or, okay. Counsel against thy people, that's obviously the case. And consulted against thy hidden ones. Now, consulted word means probably consult. I think you're okay with that. Let's dig a little deeper into this word. Advice. So they're talking to Iran, Russia, China, blah, blah, blah. Consulted against thy hidden ones. Now, the hidden one word is tzafon. It It could mean protected ones. It's probably a better way, which is Israel. How many wars has Israel lost since 1948 that it should have lost? Didn't lose any. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Isn't that what they're trying to do today? They're laying siege to us. See, they want to kill the Jews and get them out of Israel. And once they get them out of Israel, the land in East Jerusalem and all that would revert to being a Muslim site, or they might divide it between Muslims and Catholics and Churchianity, same thing. There'll never be a temple there if they have control over it, is what they're thinking. For they have consulted together with their confederate against thee. Well, confederate means they're joined together against thee, and this is exactly what's happening. The tabernacles of Edom, well, Edom is Yemen, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, well, Jordan, that's basically the Arabs, the Ishmaelites. They descended from Ishmael, so they would be the Arabs. And it mentions Moab and the Hagarenes. The Hagarenes are called wanderers. Let's see if we could find out more about the Hagarenes. Let me go look it up. Syria. Well, it could also apply to Egypt. It's a pretty broad term. It also carries over to Africa. They were nomadic. It could go to east of Gilead, so I guess we're going into Jordan, Syria, that kind of thing. Okay, let's get back into the text. All this lines up quite well. The hidden ones could be the lost tribes. I know Satan knows who the lost tribes are, because he was around. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. For They have consulted together with one consent. They're all in agreement. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, Ishmael, Moab, and the Hagarenes. Gebal and Ammon. Ammon is North Jordan. Gebal is south of the Dead Sea, so you would be, I think, Jordan, Idumean. Yeah, probably Jordan. And Ammon and Amalek, and Amalek would be what land? I don't know all the ancient terms. I gotta look them up. Esau, so that would be like Moab, Edom, and the Philistines, and that's Gaza, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Well, that's Lebanon. What a great descriptive, isn't it? Asher, that's Assyria, which could be attributed to Iran. Also joined with them. They have holpen well, that would also mean Syria and Iraq too. They have holpen or helped the children of Lot. Okay. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, as to the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zerub, all their princes as Zebah and Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. No, the temple, like the other things, I don't know. The word houses may not be in the plural, but we can check that. Hang on. Okay, it's in verse 12. Let me check the Hebrew. I'm not even seeing the word houses here. They made that up. The word houses isn't in there. Boy, the more you study the Bible, the more you realize how they lie in these English translations. See, the words in possession don't exist in the Hebrew text. The word na means pastures. Yes. Yes, hi. Okay, where are you now? Oh, you're out? Okay, I'll come out now. Okay, bye. I gotta get a package. I'll be right back. They've really, it means pastures, not houses. They're trying to make you think it means the temple or something like that. They're messing with it. It means pastures. I gotta get out, buddy. about that. That's life in Israel. The houses have no numbers, and the guys don't know where you are. You got to go out and find them, really. They have a rough idea where you are. Welcome, Israel. All right. Looks like we got to take a harder look at Psalms 83. It looks like a fantastic match. All right, let me find my verse. Tabernacles of Edom would be like the stuff down in Yemen. That's already started to be fulfilled. Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, inhabitants of Tyre. The inhabitants of Tyre is, for crying out loud, Lebanon. Asher joined with them. They have held or helped? What is this? Let's see. Looks like help. They have helped the children a lot. Those are the bad ones. The, Arab types with the terrorism. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Oh, that's where we're headed for the enemies. Make their nobles like Oreb, like Zeb, the princes who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God. They have no right doing that. The word for house is bite. Mishkan or Mikdash for temple. It's the pastures. The land is basically what they're trying to say. The land of God, the land of Israel. Is God in Moscow or New York or Tokyo or Beijing? Come on, it's Jerusalem. And then it says, they say, oh my God. It doesn't say that. It says, Elohim, make them like a wheel. That should be Gilgal. It is. It could be a whirlwind, too. As the stubble before the wind. I think it means whirlwind more than wheel. Galgal is a wheel, like Galgal Auto, your tire wheel, your metal wheel. You could even maybe use it for the tire and that kind of thing. Auto is what America calls a car. It also calls it an auto. A bus in Israel is an autobus. Makes sense, right? As the stubble before the wind. Well, I got a slight bombshell on that one. Okay? Get ready. It's good. Zechariah 12:6. In that day will I make the judges of Judah like an earth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left. Okay, so stubble, that sure sounds like it. To me, stubble before the wind, they get blown away like the chaff at the harvest. Gets burned up, gets blown away. As the ashes get blown away, I assume. As the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. That's Zechariah 12:6, if I ever heard it, in different words. So persecute them with thy tempest. That's a storm. And make them afraid with thy storm. Well, storm and a storm. Okay, let's keep digging here on the words. Tempest could be a whirlwind, correct? Like a twister or something like that. And a storm is Safa. Whoops, where did it go? It's a storm, whirlwind, hurricane. Hurricane is like a twister. You see the Weather Channel shows you the hurricane from above going like this. It's, like a twister. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. And a lot of them are going to turn to the Lord. A lot of them are Israel in the surrounding countries to what we call Israel today. They're Israel. They had forced conversions to Mohammedanism years ago. Islam, Muslim. And they lost touch as to who they are. Probably very much like the North American Indians. But God says, go serve your idols, and when I hiss for you, see if you come. And they will. Let them be confounded and troubled. And you see them coming out from these countries, like the North coming to Israel. Probably in a week or 2 or 3. Not long. Maybe days. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish. The word for perish is abad, and it doesn't really mean perish. It means vanish, like disappeareth, Disappeareth is King James speak for disappear. I'm kidding around. And perish. That men may know that thou, whose name alone is Jehovah, art the most high over all the earth. There you go. So based on this, do I think that the Hittites, Turkey, are going to be stupid enough to come at Israel? Yes. See, what would Elijah say now? Come to me. Come to your worst nightmare. Welcome. Come. That's what he would say. Of course, him and Apostle John are going to burn them up. This is days away. This isn't weeks away. Nor months, nor years. Sure, the church doesn't understand it. I would not expect them to. I'd be shocked if they did. The fact that there's 2 billion of them in the Catholics, evangelicals, nominals, Pentecostals, that don't understand this and the timing is very, consistent for me. If they did believe it, that would knock me for a loop. The fact that they don't believe it is normal for the course. 2 Corinthians 11:4, they have another Jesus, they have another gospel, and they have another spirit. Why would they believe it? I'd be shocked if they did believe it. I would think there was something wrong with my doctrine if they believed it. I would. Why? Because good fruit cannot come from a bad tree. It's absolutes. And bad fruit cannot come from a good tree. It's an absolute. Yeshua presented it as an absolute. You're not going to get a little good fruit or a little truth out of churches run by the father of lies. And the same goes for his nincompoops that post all over the internet. And they're very coy. They never tell you they go to a church or they're part of a church or anything like that. Oh, a few tell you they're a pastor, but a lot of them never tell you that. But rest assured, you know where you're going to find these slobs at 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. Since most of Psalm 83 looks good to me, so you hate Israel, okay, and the person that's saying never forget the USS Liberty hates Israel and comes in here, you know, sort of like putting up a Palestinian flag. See, and a lot of these people go to church. You probably are not aware of how many millions and millions and millions of people go to these churches and hate Israel. The Christ killers. It's massive. Yeshua's a Jew from the tribe of Judah. Where does it say in the New Testament he converted to Christianity? Nowhere. It's a joke. I mean, he never did. The prophets were mostly Jews. The early church was Messianic Jews. Who did he pour the Holy Spirit out on first? You know, it's insane what they believe, you know, and they think they're believers. That's why they're going to get cut off. They're the tares, not the wheat in Matthew 13. So Turkey could do a multitude of things. The rundown would be this: take the troops he has with tanks and other things in Syria, put them on the border. We're not going to be invaded. We're going to be surrounded. Okay? It's called the siege. And we're in the siege now. It's enhancing by the day. Have you noticed that every day it gets more and more closer? Every day. Every day. And the day of vengeance is a day. And in Zechariah 12, it says many times, in that day, in that day, in that day. So it's a day too. Is it possibly the day of vengeance? Sure, I think it is. Daughter of Babylon in Revelation 18, which is Washington, D.C., I believe, gets hit in a day, in an hour, suddenly. No, I don't think the whole country gets hit in a day, in an hour. I don't know about that. But D.C. gets it. Now, the fires are very hard to find in the news now, but they're growing in America. And the heat wave and the drought is growing. And God says, I will kindle fires in and around the cities. That's the Daughter of Babylon, America. And that's certainly happened already in the last several days, and it's growing. The people that are called but not chosen fill the churches. Broad and wide is the road to destruction, and many be that find it. Okay? Okay? Straight and narrow is the path, and few find it. Straight and narrow means you read the scriptures and you believe it. The broad and wide are the big buildings. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know. Now, this is what you got to understand. They're called but not chosen. Say, oh, the man of sin is going to come now and, you know, preach peace and safety and then break the covenant in 7 years. That's not for today. Decades away. What is for today is foreign to them. Jeremiah 30. And I want you to understand how bad it's going to get. I think it's like verse 5 or 4. Let's go to 4. And these are the words that Jehovah spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith Jehovah, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. So you can forget this guy coming and speaking peace. Ask you now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. The church people don't ever want to believe great is Jacob's trouble, he's going to be saved out of it. They want to believe great is Jacob's trouble, and the stinking Christ killers are going to get killed. Now not everyone in the church is that way, by far, but a whole heck of a lot of them are. For it shall come to, you ever see the Pope come out and say he stands with Israel against the terrorists? For it shall come to pass in that days, and I haven't seen one single denomination that's not Catholic come out and say they stand with Israel. Not one denomination. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Jehovah of armies, that I will break the yoke from off his neck and will burst thy bonds. And strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, like the UK, like NATO, like UN, like America, and all of that. All right. So we're going to Jacob's trouble, which is Zechariah 12. Now, when it says this, I have to cut some room for this. Let me explain this to you. Verse 5. For thus saith Jehovah, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. So this could be the people invading Israel, not the Jews. Let me show you why. Zechariah 12:2. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. So the trembling means, yes, it's not exactly the cup of the wrath of the Lord. This is different. You're shaken, like there used to be an old TV actor in the Charlie Chan movies. He called himself Mantan something. He was a black fellow, and he was funny as all get up. And this guy was hilarious. And he'd make movies with Charlie Chan, like they'd be in in a haunted house or something, and there'd be something walking at him, and he'd sit there and say, "Feet don't fails me now," and he'd be shaking and trembling, right? Okay, people get scared enough, they shake. Used to see what cops go through after they have a severe incident. They shake. Now, a lot of it is attributed to an adrenaline dump. When you get attacked, some of you probably experience this. What happens is, or you're attacking, you go into a different state, and things happen in slow motion to you, but it's not. Things are going like that, but they look to you more like this. Okay? And sometimes you get a kind of quiet hum in the background. Everything slows down, but it doesn't. It looks slower to you. And that's then when it's over, and this is what a shooting is like, Sometimes. Now, the guys that are like in LA SWAT, they're shooting, a guy in there 5 years probably shot 11 or 12 people, So the sergeant comes to the scene after they shoot a guy trying to take a hostage, and the sergeant says, "Okay, tell me what happened." Well, he was holding her, he had a gun to the head, I came by the window, he didn't see me, They distracted him from the front door. He turned away. I shot him in the back of the head. He fell down. We grabbed the hostage, got her out of there, and he was, dead before he hit the floor. Was that it? The guy goes, yeah. I says, okay. And then the guy goes, Sarge, can I go eat? I haven't eaten in since last night. That's how they are. Okay, after a while, you get like that. You got a heart like Arctic ice. Okay, it's not good to be like that, but believers don't get that way. Non-believers will. So too much of this killing, even if you're in the military or you're in the police, it wears you down and puts you in crazy gaga land. And they glorify the special forces to the young guys, And I've known Navy SEALs and recon Marines and people that work with the Navy SEALs. I knew two of them that were boat operators for them. One I worked with in law enforcement, and the other one was a good friend of mine. And they don't get screwed up. They take the SEALs from the submarine generally to the land with a boat and then wait for them. So they're not killing anybody. So to them it's fun and games. But these kids that get into the Navy SEALs, or the recon Marines, or the Delta Forces and stuff like that, they get reduced to murders. Okay? If you work for the government, right, and you're a believer, and the government says, while you're interviewing a suspect, well, go lie to him and tell him this and that. You say, I'm not going to lie to him. Well, now there's something wrong with you in the police department, and they're going to try to get rid of you or isolate you in the evidence room or, someplace else, just get rid of you. But because your police lieutenant or sergeant tells you to go lie to somebody, does that mean you could break the scriptures and knowingly tell lies? No. No. You can't. No. If your government or your colonel or your captain or major tells you to go do a targeted assassination with a bunch of other guys, sneak in and snipe this guy and blow his head off, he's an enemy of America, he's a high value target, and the country's not invading America, not attacking America, you just go out there and shoot the guy, is that a justified murder in the eyes of God at the judgment day? I don't think so. If Al Capone tells one of his henchmen to go out and kill this guy that won't pay protection money and they go do it, is it murder? Yeah. So if America sends a soldier out to go kill some guy because they're not dancing to America's music, is that any different than Al Capone sending him out to kill somebody because they won't pay protection or buy booze from Al Capone? No. It's murder. And God's going to destroy all the militaries of the world. It's written in the scripture. Or the ones that attack Israel anyway, which is almost all of them. Now, what you need to be aware of, if you're not, is in Jeremiah 30, I think it's 11. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah, to save thee. So is Israel. If Russia, China, Iran, and all the others line up and surround Israel, does that mean God's not going to save us? Does that mean that Jehovah's arm is so short he can't heal? Of course not. It's absurd to think about that. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah, to save thee. Well, when the two witnesses burn them up, that'll certainly get them trembling in around Jerusalem, I think, wouldn't you think? Though I make a full end of all nations, all the heathen nations, whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee. I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Okay, I want to look a word up here. Let me read this scripture in Jeremiah 5:10. Go you up upon her walls and destroy, but make not a full end. Take away her battlements, for they are not the Lord's. For the house of Israel and the house of Judah have dealt very treacherously against me, saith Jehovah. They have belied Jehovah and said, it is not me, it is not he, neither shall evil come upon us, neither shall you see sword or famine. And the prophets shall become wind and the word. So, who is he talking about? Let's go to the first verse, Jeremiah 5. Run you to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem, and see now and know, and seek the broad places thereof. If you can find a man, if there be any that executeth judgment, that seeketh the truth, and I will pardon. And though they say, Jehovah liveth, surely they swear falsely. O Lord, are not thy eyes upon the truth? Thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved. Thou hast consumed them, but they have not. They have refused to receive correction. They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return. Therefore I said, surely these are poor, they are foolish, for they know not the way of Jehovah, the judgment of their God. I will get me unto the great men, and will speak unto them, for they have known the way of the Lord and the judgment of their God. But these have altogether broken the yoke and burst the bonds. Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them. A wolf of the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Every one that goeth out thence shall be torn to pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backslidings are increased. How shall I pardon thee for this? Thy children has forsaken me, and sworn by them that are not gods, when I had them to the full. They then committed adultery, and assembled themselves by troops in the harlots' houses, the whores' houses. They were, it could be loose women too. They were as for horses in the morning, every one neighing after his neighbor's wife. Well, with the horses, it's okay. With dogs, it's okay. With bulls and cows, it's fine. Not with people. Shall I not visit for these things, saith Jehovah? And shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? Go you unto her walls, and destroy, but make not a full end. Take away her battlements. You see, he doesn't make a full end of us. But the Satan bots that run the place and they run the big businesses, they're gone. And the bad rabbis are gone. And basically all the witches will be gone. What's left are the poor people. For the house, it's the 2/3 cut off in Zechariah 13:8 and 9. For the house of Israel and the house of Judah have dealt. Well, you see, the House of Israel is not here now, so it may not be for this, but the principle, I think, is the same. Neither shall evil come upon us, neither shall we see sword nor famine. And the prophets shall become wind. I'm trying to find something that definitively pins this to today, and I'm not. See, it talks about him bringing a mighty nation on us, and that's not today. Today we get nations, plural. Then he goes on and says, nevertheless, in those days, saith Jehovah, I will not make a full end with you. And it shall come to pass, when you shall say, wherefore doth the Lord our God, or doeth all these things unto us, then shalt thou answer them like, as you have forsaken me and served strange gods. It's very difficult to pin this one to today. Gotta check this message for a second. It sounds like it could apply, but there's inconsistencies with Israel and Judah, and right now it's just Judah. It says, so shall you serve strangers in a land that is not yours. It doesn't sound like it's for today. Don't know. It doesn't have any direct connection to the time today, Zechariah 12. So he may, the point that I like that it brings out is that the deliverance is not going to come through the military. So is our military going to be destroyed? I don't know. I'm not seeing any direct scripture for that. Yeah, how did Chris Kiley die? He got killed by some crazy guy. See, being a sniper, I mean, look, if a country invades or attacks America like Japan did, and stuff like that, yeah, you've got a right in the military to defend your country. But, did Vietnam ever attack America? No. See what I'm saying? gotta watch that stuff. You don't get a get out of jail free card for sins because your government or your employer tells you you gotta do something. High-ranking intelligence and law enforcement agencies, when they interview people to investigate them and, persuade them to roll over and stuff like that, they witchcraft them. I'm telling you. That's why they like hiring witches for the job. Okay. I have a prayer request, and it's gonna be for two people, for MB Mike Bravo, MB Mike Bravo, and EB Echo Bravo, EB Echo Bravo, Bravo, EB Echo Bravo. Healing for something on the eyelid area. Healing for eyelids for these people. Okay, thank you. So I think that in Jeremiah, the trembling is pretty, it could also likely apply to the Israelites, because they think their end is coming. But again, I don't know. See, they're trembling and clutching their guts because the nation's being born in a day and they're them. But it could also apply to, in addition or also or instead of, apply to those surrounding Jerusalem. We'll find out soon enough. So every time I start getting my doubts, oh, Moshe, are you wrong on the timing on this thing? It's getting down to the wire. Are you wrong? This has been going for weeks, and I searched the Lord, and He keeps showing me more and more things to tell me I'm not wrong. And look at what's going on now with, now you got Turkey. I mean, it's reaching crazy proportions. What do I think is going to happen with the American warships that Theodore Roosevelt and the 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers is Iran's going to try to take them down? Because Iran doesn't think that America is going to do much about it. And they're going to find out that they're going to get hit with a massive amount of airstrikes when they do that. And America's going to call for help. They're going to say Iran attacked our warships in the Persian Gulf. That's it. They made war on America. NATO, all for one for all. The UK is going to say, I support America. And Germany and Italy will come in, and the rest of them. Then other enemies of Iran, like who? Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt may also decide to go help get rid of Iran. There's a lot of people that want to see Iran go down memory lane. And Iraq and Syria are going to take the dive down too. And they, the people are going to exile or go into captivity to all the nations of the world. They're going to just spread all over the place. I could take questions, but I think I accomplished what I want to. So I think Turkey will join in. Jordan might join in, but the government of Jordan is up in Ammon in North Jordan, which is called Ammon in the Bible, and they make peace and friends with Israel, and they flourish. Moab, which it may be southern Jordan and it may not be Jordan, but probably southern Jordan. They get it, and Edom gets it, and Edom seems to be associated with Taman, which means the south, which is what the Israelis call Yemen today, Taman, with a T. And it associates it with the Red Sea. When he says he destroys the nations, it doesn't mean everybody gets killed. I think he makes the lands uninhabitable or something like that. You have to understand that Father God Jehovah at this point in time is going to step out of cover mode. He's going to be revealing himself and his power rather openly. And you're going to see things you couldn't even imagine. Good and bad. Good for you, bad for the bad. And like the days of Noah, they're just going about their business thinking everything's going to be okay. And then when the rains came, they said, what the heck is this? That Noah was right. We never had rain before. I've been around for hundreds of years and never had rain. Now we got rain. That's what it's going to look like. And then God says, I will deal with the heathens like they have not heard. Yeah, it's in the scriptures. It's quite amazing. Quite amazing. Let's see if we have any questions. So I'm pretty big on Zechariah 12, one day, same day Washington, D.C. gets hit. And many other nations may get it in that day too, because it's a day of vengeance. And, I don't have every fine point and every detail. I just don't. And nobody's going to know the day and the hour, so. We know it's coming, but we don't have the day and the hour. Iran will join in somehow and will probably provoke America and or the UK, because that place is going to get it. So basically what we're saying is it's just going to get out of control. It's just going to go out of control. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you today. So take this Turkish threat very seriously. He's nuts, Erdogan, and he's going to have support of other countries, and he's going to figure Israel is way too occupied to deal with him correctly, and he'll probably put troops in Syria on our border or ships in the Mediterranean or both. He might fly air missions. I don't know what he's going to do. We'll find out. Probably not fly air missions. Our anti-aircraft stuff is too good. So, please pray for me and my wife for our peace, safety, protection, and joy, and healing of our bodies, and pray for our finances, and pray for better videos, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and pray for our animals and pets that are all rescues, that they be happy, healthy, and whole. And you should be subscribed, because when the eggs start hitting the fan, I'll be doing live streams at unusual hours. And if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll get notified. And you'll be able to watch. And you'll get the news probably 8 to 12 hours earlier from me than you will with the other outlets. And I tell you, the people that are not in Israel try to analyze the wars for you, they can't. They don't understand it. They just don't. You know? So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out. Thank you.